Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another theme park obsession video. My name is Dylan and thank you so much for tuning back into the channel. As you can see, I'm back in the office today because I wanted to talk about Destination D23. Destination D23 happens every other year, the year that the main convention is not happening. And just like the Parks and Resorts panel at the main D23 event, Destination D23 also has a very similar panel where Josh tomorrow goes up on stage and talks about the future. So in today's video, I just wanted to talk about the possibilities of what might happen at Destination D23. What will Josh tomorrow talk about this year? Well, let's talk about all that and more in today's video. So how about you and I dive right in. Before we get started, just always a huge shout out to those that love and enjoy every single video each and every week. So Destination D23, like I said, happens every other year, the year that the main event doesn't happen. And this year, like always, it is hosted at the Contemporary Resort at Walt Disney World. And in 2021, some of the biggest announcements were the new Incredible Hulk suits, like those giant characters. They previewed that, and they also talked about the new Mickey's Toontown at Disneyland with the addition of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. They also talked about some offshore stuff like at Hong Kong Disneyland. They talked about the Frozen Land. I believe they also talked about what's going on at Tokyo Disney with the Fantasy Springs expansion. And then they also talked about a bunch of shows returning both at Disneyland and Walt Disney World and a bunch of other little tiny things here and there. Now fast forwarding to this year's presentation, one has to imagine that, yeah, they're going to talk about some new stuff. I feel like they have to. So let's start with what I think they're going to talk about, like what I'm kind of 90% sure they're going to talk about. The first thing I believe they're going to talk about is just a general update on the current projects happening at all the Disney parks and resorts around the world. I would not be surprised if we get updated looks at the Hong Kong Disneyland Frozen expansion, also the Fantasy Springs expansion at Tokyo Disney, which I'm actually really excited for. That expansion looks absolutely gorgeous, just like everything else at Tokyo Disney does. So I'm sure we're going to see a lot of updated information on that. Maybe some opening time frames for Fantasy Springs would be nice. I know in Hong Kong, they're going to be opening up the Frozen Land in November, if I'm not mistaken. But as far as Fantasy Springs is concerned, we don't really have a concrete date as of yet. So hopefully an opening month will be announced. I think we're going to get an updated look on the Disney Cruise Line experience, maybe some new announcements when it comes to that, like little experiences on the ship that they will announce. And they'll also talk about, at least I think they'll talk about that new destination that people go to when they do a Disney cruise, kind of like Castaway Cay. I forgot what the new one is called, but they are working on a new island destination that you go to as part of your itinerary. So they'll probably talk about that as well. Moving on to Shanghai, I think they'll talk about the Zootopia land. They'll give us an updated look on that because that's nearing the finish line, which is really cool. And a really good thing for Shanghai Disneyland because I feel like they need some new attractions out there. And then stateside, I think for Disneyland, they will talk about Fantasmic. They will maybe tease some new magic heading that way because they did say that they are working on a new version of Fantasmic without the dragon, unfortunately, or maybe a newer type of dragon that we're just not used to. And then at Walt Disney World, I think they're going to talk about Journey of Water because that is nearing the finish line. We haven't gotten a concrete date as to when that's supposed to open either. They've just said late 2023, and at least at the time of me making this video. So that could change here in the next few days. But if they do not announce something by Destination D23, then I think at that presentation, get an official opening day for Journey of Water at Epcot. And lastly, I think another for sure thing that they will talk about or mention is just the current hotel progress. I know they're building some new hotels and DVC towers around the world, so I think we'll get an updated look at all of that stuff too. So like the Poly and then the stuff at the Disneyland Resort, that is all going to be open. Oh, and then Pixar Place Hotel as well. So I think we're all gonna get updated looks on those projects. And you also can't forget the Hatbox Ghost. I think Josh will talk about Hatbox Ghost going in to Haunted Mansion at Walt Disney World. I think they'll also talk about just a few other little tiny upgrades and updates and refurbishments that they talked about previously at other presentations that are finally starting to get open after so many years. I think they'll talk about that as well. But in general, I believe that is everything that they will kind of recap on when it comes to just older things that they've already talked about. Now the fun part. Now, what do I think they're going to talk about for the future? Well, let's go back overseas and talk about that. I'm crossing my fingers that we get more details on the Tomorrowland renovation that's happening at Tokyo Disneyland. They just showed that concept art of Space Mountain, but they didn't really give too many other details on what they're going to do for the rest of Tomorrowland. So I hope they kind of peel the curtain back a little bit on that project, because I have some high hopes for the Tomorrowland project at Tokyo Disney, and I hope that it's a precursor to what may happen at Disneyland here in California. I would love to see an announcement for Disneyland Paris, like a huge investment. I know they're already working on the Frozen expansion and all that fun stuff over at the Walt Disney Studios park, which desperately needs new attractions, because when Michael and I were out there not too long ago, that was the one thing that we said about that park, is the park is just so small. I mean, you're able to walk around the park in like 2 seconds. So they need more rides at that park, and I'm glad they're adding new attractions. But as far as Disneyland Paris is concerned, Disneyland Paris is a great park. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I had a blast at Disneyland Paris, but I still think that Disneyland Paris needs some new attractions. There's definitely some things there that are a little outdated, and I feel like Disneyland Paris itself gets neglected a little too much in the Walt Disney Company, so fingers crossed that they also announce something for Disneyland Paris. I've heard rumors of Galaxy's Edge going in there, right behind Tomorrow or Discoveryland, and then I've also heard rumors of stuff being added on the other side of the park, like Frontierland side. So I don't know. Either way, I'm hoping for something for Disneyland Paris. That would be a really exciting announcement at Destination D23. I don't think we'll get anything more for Tokyo. I think the Fantasy Springs expansion is pretty much good enough for the next couple years. And I don't think we're going to get anything else in China. So nothing else in Hong Kong or nothing else in Shanghai. So I think that's it for the offshore parks, because I can't really think of anything else that they would possibly talk about, and anything that I've heard in the rumor mill. Because yeah, there's projects that are already working on that they're going to be opening up here very, very soon. Moving to stateside though, that's where things get a little bit more interesting, especially in Florida. But let's talk about California first. I think they're going to talk about the Avengers e-ticket ride. If they want to make a big scene, I feel like they need to talk about the Avengers e-ticket ride. And I hope that we see this attraction come to life, because for the longest time, for a few years now, they've been teasing this attraction going into California Adventure. And I think California Adventure really needs a big e-ticket attraction. It's been a long time since they've added one. I feel like the last big major e-ticket ride to go into California Adventure was Radiator Springs Racers in Cars Land. Guardians of the Galaxy, I guess, is an e-ticket attraction, but that's just like a reskin. I don't really count that as a brand new ride built from the ground up. So it's been like 10 years, I believe, since we've seen a brand new ride like that. So I'm hoping that they talk about that Avengers e-ticket ride. And I've said in previous videos that they should just clone the, I think the leaves are falling on my head. I think they should clone the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind coaster and then just put it over in California Adventure. If they can't fit that same exact layout, they can do a custom layout. I know Vekoma is willing to work with Disney on many different applications. Vekoma is the coaster manufacturer that made Guardians of the Galaxy. But yeah, and also, if the space is not large enough footprint wise, they could always dig below the ground. They can go into the ground pretty easily. They've done it with the Luigi's Flying Tires ride when they first installed that attraction when they were building Cars Land. They dug pretty deep into the ground to install like the air compressor components and all that kind of fun stuff. So if they really need to, they can go beneath the surface to fit in a really cool roller coaster, which that would be sick for California Adventure. I feel like Disney needs another roller coaster on their hands in California. And I mean, wouldn't that be awesome if they did like a Guardians of the Galaxy type roller coaster at California Adventure? I think that would be a pretty good, worthy contender for an Avengers e-ticket ride. And then as far as Disneyland side, I don't think we're going to hear anything new as far as new attractions going into Disneyland, just because they opened up Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway. But in the most recent video that I just posted on the channel not too long ago about like what could be next at the Disneyland Resort, Bob Iger did talk about Avatar coming to the Disneyland Resort. So we don't know if that is going to be going into Disneyland or California Adventure or somewhere else. I don't know, somewhere else. But we do know that it is coming. We do know that Pandora will be making its way to the Disneyland Resort. We just don't know what that time frame looks like. That could be in 2 or 3 years from now, or that could be in like 6 to 7 years from now. We don't know. One thing they might talk about, though, for the Disneyland Resort is the 70th anniversary, the preparations for that celebration, which will be happening very, very soon. 2025 will welcome Disneyland's 70th birthday, which is just bonkers to think about. 70 years. I mean, I wonder if Walt, had an idea, like, how long will this last, really? Like, he knew it was going to last long before he was gone. But 70 years, if he was alive today, to see how Disneyland has been shaping up over the years, I think he'd be very proud to see at least Disneyland Park. The Walt Disney Company is a different story. That is a different story for a different day. But Disneyland Park itself, I think he would be very happy with the way Disneyland Park has grown over the years. And I think he would be, I feel like he would laugh about things like the Enchanted Tiki Room still being there and It's a Small World. He'd probably be like, dang, you guys still have these things and so many people are still enjoying them to this day. So that's pretty cool. But 70 years at Disneyland, I think they're going to talk about what they might do. And what I'm thinking is a new parade. That's kind of like a no-brainer. I feel like Magic Happens might be scrapped, or they might do something with it, or it just becomes a daytime thing every once in a while. I hope they do not bring back the Main Street Electrical Parade. We're done with that for a while. We're done with the Main Street Electrical Parade. That thing keeps coming back from the dead like way too many times. So I hope it's just a brand new parade to celebrate the 70th anniversary. I would assume a new fireworks show. Those are pretty easy for them to do as well. And those are crowd pleasers. The most recent fireworks show they've done, I believe it's called Wondrous Journey, is a really good show. It kind of reminds me of Harmonious. It's like our own little version of Harmonious, but it's a really grand and great show. Perfect finale on that thing too. So I think a fireworks show is definitely in the question for the 70th. But as far as a new ride, I don't know. I don't know if they're able to pull that off, because they would have to start construction now on a new ride, and they're not going to get that thing open in 2 years. It's not going to happen. The only ride that they're kind of working on right now is Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and that opens up a year before the celebration. So yeah, what are they going to have besides a parade and a fireworks show for the 70th? I don't know. Maybe we'll see some surprises, but my educated guess is leaning more towards fireworks show and parade for the 70th anniversary. Let's move to Walt Disney World next, because there's a lot happening in Florida. We have Epic Universe opening up in 2025. That is the slated opening time frame. I'm thinking personally it's going to open up a little bit earlier than 2025, just because of the rate of construction progress. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Universal has like some of the best contractors in the business when it comes to building new lands and rides. I mean, they get it done super quick, and I feel like Disney needs to hire those same people to build stuff, because they're taking forever on projects. And I think that Disney should have something in store for the parks for 2025. They have to announce something for Epic Universe. There needs to be some sort of competition there. Tron has already opened at Magic Kingdom. Guardians of the Galaxy and Ratatouille are already open at Epcot, and then Journey of Water is going to be opening up here hopefully in the next couple months as well. Hollywood Studios hasn't received anything new since Toy Story Land and not Guardians of the Galaxy, but Galaxy's Edge, if I'm not mistaken, as far as big new major attractions. And then Animal Kingdom hasn't really seen a big major new attraction since Pandora. So I'm thinking, fingers crossed again, because I'm repeating myself a lot, but it's okay. I think they're going to talk about Animal Kingdom at Destination D23. I don't know if they're going to get something open in time for Epic Universe's grand opening, but maybe they can open up something that following year or a few months after that. But I think Animal Kingdom is the next park to get some sort of expansion. They teased it at D23 last year, so I think at Destination D23 they might go back to that conversation and talk about it. I'm just hoping it's not Zootopia. I feel like Zootopia should not be at Animal Kingdom. A lot of people argue, oh, well, yeah, Zootopia would fit Animal Kingdom, and I'm like, well, no, because that movie has nothing to do with animals and has everything to do with people, and Animal Kingdom is not a park about people, it's about animals. So I'm hoping that they went back to the drawing board when it comes to Zootopia being an Animal Kingdom. But with that said, I'm totally in favor of some sort of expansion coming to the park, because it's just been so long. Yeah, 2017 was the last time they really added some major attractions to that park, and I think that park desperately needs it. And just to go off on like a little bit of a tangent right now, I don't understand why they want to get rid of the dinosaurs at Animal Kingdom. Like, to me, that's just an easy no-brainer crowd pleaser. Like, people love dinosaurs. The kids love dinosaurs, and I love dinosaurs. Universal's been capitalizing on dinosaurs for years, since the 90s. So why is Disney just like, oh no, we're not going to do dinosaurs? Because Dinoland USA is on the chopping block. And I understand that Dinoland USA was kind of like an afterthought at Animal Kingdom, and it really isn't the best addition to that park. But you can go in and do some really amazing things with Dinoland USA and really do an incredible refurbishment for dinosaurs. So I don't know. I'm hoping that they keep the dinosaurs in the park because I feel like it fits the park's core. But knowing Disney as of late, they're all about IPs. They don't really care about, you know, park values and cores anymore. They just kind of want to slap an IP onto something. So I think Moana is probably going to happen at Animal Kingdom, which is another puzzling thing. Like, you know, Moana makes way more sense in Animal Kingdom than Zootopia does. But I'm like, do we really need another Moana attraction? I mean, I don't know. If they do a Moana attraction and they talk about that, because that's another thing they teased at D23, I hope it's a really good water ride, because in the concept art that they showed, it looked like a log flume ride, like just some sort of flume ride. And if that's true, then that would be pretty cool, because again, I think water rides in Florida is always a must, just because it's so hot in Florida, and a water ride would definitely benefit that park, just because that park is always very hot as well, just because of all the trees, so it's incredibly humid. So that would work, and I would be more in favor of a Moana boat ride than I would Zootopia. So if they're going to talk about anything, I'm hoping that they talk about the Moana addition to Animal Kingdom, or they can go completely left field and do something totally different, which would be really exciting as well. They also talked about the expansion ideas for Magic Kingdom. I don't know if those were real. I think those were, I have more belief in the Animal Kingdom expansions than I do the Magic Kingdom ones, like with Coco and Kanto and the villains. I feel like that was just a pipe dream or something that they had to talk about to fill an extra 15 minutes because they had nothing else to talk about at D23. But you never know. At Destination D23, they could touch up on that. I feel like out of all those ideas that they should greenlight, if they wanted to do a crowd pleaser at Destination D23, announce a Villains Land. Do the Villains Land. Out of those three lands that they talked about, Coco and Kanto and Villains at Magic Kingdom, oh man, do the Villains right behind Fantasyland. What a perfect combo. You got all the princesses and Fantasyland and all that kind of stuff. It's all happy and dory. But then right behind Fantasyland, well, that's where all the darkness sits, and that's where all the villains live. And that would be an incredible addition to Magic Kingdom. You could add like 2 or 3 attractions. You have a couple C-ticket rides, maybe 1 E-ticket attraction back there. There's plenty of room for that kind of stuff at Magic Kingdom. But again, I think that is the most reasonable announcement that they could do as far as making a capital investment. I think that would be a good return of investment if they decided to do something like that. With all of this said, though, keep in mind, and I've mentioned this before, the timetable for all of this is just so up in the air, and Disney as of late has just been taking forever to build new attractions. And I hope that that's not the case moving forward. I hope that they change their tone on that kind of stuff, because I mean, look what's happening at Epcot. Those construction walls have been up for years. So I no matter what they announce, I hope that they don't just take forever on it. I think it's wise for them to act quickly, especially with Universal, because Universal is like no joke right now. They are building so fast on all of their things, not just in Florida, but here in Hollywood as well. In Hollywood, they're already working on a new roller coaster. So, you know, with Epic Universe in the pipeline and on the horizon, I think Disney should act really quick, just to keep things relevant at the parks. I don't think a 5th park is necessary, because you got to remember, there's not that many rides at the Walt Disney parks. I mean, Epcot still needs so many attractions. Animal Kingdom still needs so many attractions. Magic Kingdom, which has the most attractions in the park and in the resort, has less attractions than Disneyland Park has. So a 5th theme park, to me, doesn't sound financially responsible for the company right now. I feel like it would just be a huge waste of investment. So I don't think they're going to announce anything like that at Destination D23. If anything, we're going to see some projects that they can hopefully get done quick. Now, the other side of the coin is that they don't really announce anything. They just kind of brush up on what's been going on lately, and they don't really announce anything new in the pipeline. Maybe they'll save that for a later date. I'm hoping that that's not true, because I feel like this is another great, good opportunity for Disney to talk about the future, especially because Epic Universe is on the way. Either way, I'm excited. I always get stoked when Disney does a presentation on the future, and even though as of late, those announcements have been few and far between, and if they do announce something, it takes forever for them to execute that. Either way, I'm excited to see what they could possibly talk about, and I think some of my predictions in today's video are very feasible. I feel like they're able to do something, with the villains at Magic Kingdom. I feel like they can do something in Animal Kingdom that is pretty easy for them. And I think that they can do some cool things at Disneyland and then offshore as well. So yeah, we'll see. We shall see. What do you think? Go ahead and comment down below. Do you think Disney's going to talk about some exciting additions to their parks lineup overseas and here in America? Or do you think that this is going to be another D23 scenario where they don't really talk about much and it's just a bunch of meet and greets? Go ahead and let me know down in the comments. But with that, I think that's going to do it for today's video here in the park. I hope you enjoyed it. I love doing these like speculation videos or prediction videos. And if you did enjoy it, go ahead and let me know by smashing the thumbs up button. And if you're new to the channel and you love these videos talking about Disney, or you love vlogs from some of your favorite theme parks, consider subscribing, because I have brand new videos every single week that you won't want to miss out on. Be sure to follow the links down below in the description to my socials. But until the next video, I hope you have a beautiful day, morning, evening, whatever it is. And I'll see you next time in the parks. Bye.